Now the track, you can label it. So you double click on it and you can label it to whatever you want. That's an advantage, because when it saves it, when you save this, it comes back with these names. Now if you drag a file into it, see the file is called mono 002, you see? Mono 002, but it's labeled as that.
Okay.
But I can either undo, Control Z, and put another one in there, like that.
Keep track of things.
See, I can zoom out, see the whole file. Then I can add another one in there. See? They're both in there, but they're in the same track. See? So it becomes real plastic like that. You can shape things and match. You know, I can move this up here like that. See, and the timeline, they're together. It's playing both of them. Now, these controls, I can mute one and just have the other. Or solo just that one. Okay. So undo, 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 undo. Undo requires memory, and you can set how many undos you want for the program. You don't want unlimited undo. The program would be gigantic. There would be all this stuff going on. And
like with Photoshop, I think the highest is 20.
Yeah. It used to just be one. And you couldn't change it. It's like, what the hell? I can't undo my mistake. Okay, so these are the guitars. So one thing you can do, the menus are rather confusing, and every program has a different menu structure to a certain extent. So what you want to be able to do is to create tracks. So for guitars we have at least 3, right? So in the project, for this program, adding tracks is either in the project menu, or we can right click down here, see, add audio track, and these are all mono. They're even marked, the recorder marked them as mono. If they were stereo, it would be ST-002. Okay, so when we add audio tracks, we can either choose mono or stereo. We can even have multi-tracks if we wanted for making movie, you know, surround sound. It'll do that.
Yeah.
So we want 3. So we add 3 tracks. Okay. I'm just going to delete these. I believe I can hit the delete key like that. We don't need those. So and we just want to put what we want to. It's best to spend the time to do this stuff, because later on it can save you your like, you know, the trouble we had with all those tracks that were recorded with the drums.
Yeah.
You know, what is this? You know,
You know,
hundreds and hundreds of things. Yeah. So labeling is important. So we'll just arbitrary guitar 1. Guitar 2, and guitar 3. Okay, so typically what I do, let's zoom in a little bit, is I put some space in the front. The snap is on. This right here, see, snap on right here. Snap on, snap off.
Which is usually a good thing.
When you're starting out, you want stuff to snap, so everything starts at the same time. So digitally everything starts at 0, but people start at 1, so that doesn't really matter. It's just arbitrary. So we'll drag it over there. We'll drag the next one over to there, like that. And we'll drag this one over to here. Okay. And they're rather long. Much activity for a long period. Okay. See that this is the zoom right here.
Mm-hmm.
Some programs allow you to zoom with the wheel, but this one doesn't. Probably newer versions you can assign,
Yeah.
you know, functions to different controls. So zoom in a little bit, and because they were all started and stopped at the same time by the recorder, we don't have to align anything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true all the time. Many people record stuff and there are little snippets all over the place, and unless you have access to the timeline, the original original file that you can import into the compatible program. And DAW programs, digital audio workstation programs, are not compatible with each other. I mean, we have WAV files, and that's sort of universal. They're very simple. You know, there's just a header with a table of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's the simplest format possible. But you know, Mac uses AIFF and AAC, and you know, and there's MP4s, MP3s, it goes on and on. Org, egg. There's all these different formats. Luckily, this program reads almost all of them. But because everything, music is temporal, everything has to be lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So the guitar is lined up correctly. So because we had 6 drum tracks, what we want to do is add 6 mono tracks for the drums. Okay, and we sort of figured out that these 3. Let's look at the guitars again.
37 through.
See, they're 250, 721 for the guitar tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And 250, it's close, right? So they're, since we recorded everything with the same sample rate and bit depth, the files are very close in size. So let's take this one and put it over here. Okay, and we want to zoom back in. The zoom centers on where the cursor is. So if I click there, you can only move the cursor by clicking in the black bar here, the timeline. These numbers are by measure. You can right click on it, see bars and beats. You can choose seconds if you want, see. I hardly ever do that, but sometimes it's useful, especially if you're going to patch it in with video or something. So what we want to do is we want to move the cursor over there because it centers on the cursor, and because these probably all started at the same time, that's what we do. So we take each one in sequence. We'll move them around later after we find out which is which.
Mm-hmm.
And slide them all in there like that, one at a time. So if I'm going too fast or you have any questions, just speak up.
I'm just taking it all in.
Mm-hmm. So that's probably our drum tracks right there.
Mm-hmm.
You notice how it says generating image? What we're seeing here is not the audio. We're seeing an image the program generates for our benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
There's a website. You send in an audio file, and they send you back images, 3D images like this for like a bracelet or a necklace or something. So you're like, you know, like when you're talking to the mic and it's like live, you see the image like just like this.
The envelope.
Yeah.
These are called envelopes.
It's you record something, you send it in, and they take these images.
The silhouette of the
Yeah.
envelope.
And they make like
little
3D
beads of them.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Or
There was a thing happened in the 60s. Here, let me get these cables out of the way. There was a thing that happened in the 60s. Stuff in the 60s was fad driven. You know, technology was fad driven because anything new that came along is really freaked people because they were ignorant rednecks, right? Geez, the same way now. So, anyway, someone figured out how to, you know what, lanyard stuff, you know, it's sort of this flat plastic.
yeah, the fiber kind of.
It's a flat plastic strip, and you can braid it into lanyards. Someone figured out how to take that and impress and use the machine. Somehow it was heat, and they put bumps on it, and the thing was pulled through the machine, right? And the device that put the bumps in the lanyard was driven by audio, so they could put the bumps, just like the undulations in a vinyl disc, on the lanyard. And what you did is you bought the lanyard. It was a way for people to make quick money and sell it at the dime store or something.
Yeah.
You take a plastic cup and you tie a knot in it, put a hole in the bottom of the plastic cup and put it in there. Then you take your thumbnail and pull it along the lanyard, and it would go, "Mary had a little lamb," you know. It would talk or play a line from your favorite song.
That's cool.
Yeah. Still would work. Now we have 3D printers, you know.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of crap. So, anyway. Nostalgia. Okay, now that we have the files mounted, and they're quite long, there's no tempo. You can record into the program itself with a click track so that there's tempo. And there are tools in the program to allow you to analyze the music and assign measures or beats. That's only useful if you're attempting to add some other robot sound to the, something automated. And it's useful for editing and aligning stuff because nobody has perfect timing. But typically what I found is that if you go by a click track, it sounds like you're playing to a click track. It's much better to play well and not use a click track than it is to use the click track. Click track is useful for different musicians who arrive at different times to record it when other people are not there that have already recorded. That's it. So when the drummer asks, "Can we record to a click track?" I tell him, well, that's okay if you expect other people to come in and play to your music, and they won't be able to follow your beat. That's really the only reason why to do that. Just the voice of experience. But you can see the structure. See, there's a song there, there's one there. You see the songs? Okay. See there? Okay? Now, what we want to do is we want to adjust the tracks to make them do what we want. And there are basic things to do right off the bat because the basic envelope, the size of the envelope, may be too small, or it's recorded at a lower level than maximum.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to reach maximum and not clip. So you don't record at maximum volume. You always keep it down. But once it's recorded, you can maximize it so that you can call what's normalizing the track.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many people say you should never normalize, and that's a mistake. That's another superstition. Normalization allows you to deal with what you recorded at full level. That's one reason why you do 24-bit, because you don't lose anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is we use the control key and we select the tracks. We can use the shortcut, which is auxiliary N for normalize, or we can use the audio processor. See, normalize. See, Alt N. You can assign key shortcuts to anything in the menus. There's a dialog that allows you to do that, and it comes with some. You see how this Control F, right? So Alt N brings up the normalize dialog, which is you can choose the level of normalization, which is 0 means maximum. Anything above 0 is more than maximum, which will clip.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you want to do that. Now, digital clipping is not like audio clipping. Audio clipping, you're overdriving the electronics and it's producing harmonics, distortion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Digital clipping is not like that. Digital clipping means that you're shaving off bits, so it's actually compressing. If you go down, if you go minus levels, you're reducing the overall volume of everything. Now, we're normalizing every track at once without selecting any part of it to normalize. We'll do that later. So hit process, and it's going to go through. You see it's working real hard. See the yellow light?
Mm-hmm.
It's scrubbing the files and normalizing them. And you'll see when it finishes, some of them will change in amplitude, some of them won't. None of them changed. Okay. So we click off into the friendly white space to deselect everything. Now, the reason why you have a mixer with multiple outputs is so you can use your hands to listen to individual tracks manually, quickly. When you export the song, when you finalize it, you're not using the mixer.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but you have to mix to an analog recorder. So it's analog, digital, digital, analog. What you want is analog, digital, digital, digital. So everything remains crisp and intact.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to use the mixer to adjust the song, adjust the tracks, and listen to it very easily. It becomes an instrument. I'm modulating these while I'm listening to it. But the end result is to mix it digitally in the DAW program without the mixer. So it outputs the digital information digitally, so it's all numeric then. I have the advantage of having both, and it is an advantage I have. Some people, they buy the mixer, they buy the interface, and they don't understand when they can't record. How do I record the mixer? You have to feed the mixer back into the input. you know, the output, the analog output of the mixer back into the input, while the program is recording and playing at the same time. It's not good to do that. It's troublesome. So the ultimate idea is to master without anything in the analog loop. Now, if I want to use a special processor or something on that's an outboard equipment, I play it through one of the outputs here through the device and back into the recording input and onto a separate track. And I do that quite often, especially on the bass. I have a device over there I can put here very easily that synthesizes the bass. It gives me another octave. It's a subsonic synthesizer. And it's like a finalization thing. You run the song through that, it produces a subsonic content. It adds like the stuff that you heard in there, real loud.
Yeah.
Gives it. Anyway. But you know, there are unique devices. This is very old. So Ibanez, this is a digital delay, and it has this variable modulation. So it does some unique stuff, and it's very old. Not even the LEDs are working. It's like it's supposed. This is a Lexicon. This is the cheapest processor. I have a better one over there, but this one's actually easier to use. This is another effects processor. This is a vocal processor. So I use these guys. I use this especially when I'm recording someone's voice. It will model different mics. It has presets. It's set at male voice. I can change it. Say female voice, pop fox. So it has different presets, and I think as we go around, see these things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
See how they move around, and the parameters. See all these buttons? These are for setting the parameters for each of these things. What this thing does, this has a compressor and a de-esser and an equalizer. The compressor and the de-esser are very useful. But this also has autotune. This is the Antares autotune box. You know, the robot sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do all that. This is very useful singing live. You can turn down the autotune so it's just slight, and if the singer hears the output of this in their ear, you can actually train your voice to that device so you actually hear it correcting and you know what you're doing wrong. It works. So you can actually improve your voice by listening to yourself through that thing.
That's what I need to do that.
Everybody does. I don't care who you are. Your voice is not perfect. And if you think so, you're wrong. Okay. Now, because we have drum tracks, what we want to do is we want to try and identify which is which. And I assume because there are sequential numbers here, we'll start with the lowest one, 39, 38. So I went bass drum, snare, tom, overheads. So I assume the lowest number recorded here, which is the 38, is the bass drum, and it looks like it. See how its pulses?
Mm-hmm.
So if we listen to that, so I choose this track. See this pane here? This one on the left?
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? It's called the inspector. See, that turns it on and off. See this bar right here?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the inspector. So, see, I click that and it collapses the, this is the interface. See the input and the output. See the when I hover over it, it says it's input,
Mm-hmm.
output. So it's going to stereo out. Now, what you have to do when you're using a multi-track device, Cubase is a little weird about how they label stuff. They call anything that connects to the computer a connection. And the main out, which is labeled by the device. This device talks to the program and labels its outputs. Here, see, main. See, it labels it that way. But we want to add some more because we want to listen to like the bass guitar, the two guitars, and the drums all separately. And see how they sound together by assigning them different channels. So we click this add bus and we just keep adding buses. We need at least 4 of them. So I could have selected 3, but okay. Now we have these 3, or these 4 right here, right? Okay. On the outputs, the inputs. See, we can also add more inputs if we want, but we don't need to.